I believe that Theta is an underrated giant. And I don't only just believe that because hypothetically, I could very well see it going to the price of $50 during this bull run, even though that's not financial advice. But another very important reason is because usually when people think about the premier projects, they don't really think about Theta because I think sometimes they don't understand its fundamentals. They usually think about the Solana, a BNB, like an Ethereum, like a Bitcoin. But Theta is very special because after all, Theta is a blockchain-powered decentralized cloud for AI, media, and as well as entertainment. Now you may be thinking, okay, these are kind of bad markets to be focused on, but I disagree with that because even though, let's say, some of the hype did kind of die down when it comes to AI, also media and entertainment, I think there's better days ahead. But before I get into that, the way you take a look at it is that when it comes to the Theta network, it's very special in a sense that it could actually be viewed as a dual network in a sense because there is the Theta Edge network and there's also the Theta blockchain. And now here's where things get a little bit more exciting because, for instance, when it comes to the Theta Edge network, it provides GPU. Now GPU stands for graphic processing unit, but besides that point, it provides GPU compute power, for instance, in AI, video, and as well as rendering. Now keep in mind, the Theta blockchain is an EVM. Now EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, compatible multi-blockchain network that supports Turing-complete smart contracts. Seems a little bit kind of overcomplicated. However, things are going to become a lot more simpler later because if we take a look at Theta, it's also focused on decentralized video on demand, and it allows users to add decentralized video to any website or application, which is very amazing. Now, with that being said though, it's important to take into consideration that Theta isn't like a version of YouTube or Twitch. That's not the case. It's more so providing a platform, but I think it's very amazing nonetheless. Now we take a look at, for instance, why are the markets that they are focused on so fantastic? Because if we take a look at, for instance, media and entertainment, this market size, according to Mordor Intelligence, is expected to reach over $40 billion by 2029. So that's insane right there. That's not even that far away. Not to mention, we take a look at the AI market. You know, that right there, yet again, according to Grandview Research, because of course they like to predict things, is predicted to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030, which is insane. Now, with that being said, though, some people may argue, okay, when it comes to Theta, mass scale adoption isn't going to happen in the next 6 months to 10 months. And I'll agree with that. And now, some people may be shocked, but I want to stand by this because mass scale adoption, that takes years. That's not going to happen like overnight or the next week or like next 2 weeks or next month or whatever. That's not how it works. It takes time. But it doesn't really matter in my opinion because during a fully fledged bull run and even still just generally speaking in the crypto space overall, people usually care about the narrative. They don't really care about what something is in its current form. They more so care about what something could be in the future. Take a look at Solana, for instance. Does that have good adoption? I don't think so. It has good perceived adoption, like people think it could have good adoption in the future, but it doesn't mean that the adoption is all that fantastic as of right now. If you take a look at Solana, primarily what is it known for? It's known for meme coins. And that doesn't mean that it has good adoption. Maybe it's famous, maybe it has a lot of hype, a lot of fans, but the adoption really isn't that dynamic in my opinion. And yet still, Solana has done very well. So the way I take a look at it is that people don't really care about adoption in its current form. They care about anticipated adoption. And Theta, it does have good anticipated adoption, at least in my perspective, because I think it's focused on the right markets. Now, it should be noted though, when it comes to Theta, they are currently partners with Katy Perry and American Idol. Now, some people may question this, but it's actually something that's logical in my opinion, especially when you consider its focus in a sense when it comes to media and entertainment. So yeah, it's a pretty good move. Not to mention, you take a look at its partners with Lionsgate. So yeah, it makes sense with this whole media and entertainment kind of vibe. Lionsgate is very massive. We also take a look at even NASA, which is kind of insane to even think about, by the way. NASA is pretty much the real deal. Pretty much as real as it gets. So the fact that they're partners with NASA, this right here really does speak volumes in my opinion. If Theta was such a caca project, this wouldn't be a reality, but it is, and that's how special Theta is. Now, it should also be taken into consideration though, that the Theta network does feature a dual token design. The first being the Theta token, which of course I've been talking about throughout this whole video, But there's also something else called T fuel, which stands for Theta fuel. Now, this is basically like a gas fee in a sense, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be focusing on the Theta token and on T fuel, even though I do believe that T fuel is an integral part for this whole operation, so to speak. But if, let's say, someone wants me to elaborate a little bit further on T fuel, I'll just say that when it comes to T fuel, it can be, let's say, earned through staking and also by contributing resources like storage and bandwidth. So I think that's pretty cool, even though some people just think it's like the gas token, so to speak. But I think there's much more to that. Even though I'm not necessarily bullish on it, I do believe that it does play a very vital role. So with all that being said, really, is Theta this trash project? No, I mean, fundamentals are amazing, partnerships are really good, and the use case is fantastic. So I think that when it comes to Theta, it's done pretty well, at least ever since I started talking about it. Now, people sometimes like to complain about price pullbacks, generally speaking. I'm not talking about just like any specific cryptocurrency, but it doesn't really matter because I think better days are ahead. And I think when it comes to Theta, beyond the price of $10, really the growth could hypothetically be exponential, because if you take a look at Cardano's native token called ADA, for instance, going to the price of $1 from around 3 cents was kind of difficult. But then going to the price of $2 and eventually $3, it didn't seem that bad. Because I think sometimes people want to see this barrier be reached before they believe in something, but I'm not that way. But still, sometimes people do want to see that before they get into something. And again, when it comes to Theta, let's say it goes to the price of $10, people are going to say, oh, wow, $20 is a 2x away. Then suddenly at that point, $40 is just a 2x from that. And then $50, that's just within grabbing distance at that point. And again, that's why I believe that beyond the price of $10, growth could hypothetically feel somewhat exponential. But of course, I can't tell the future. I can only speculate. But when you have over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history, I highly doubt that this board is going to be bad. Even historically speaking, we could very well see the peak not too far from right now. Usually, as a worst case, again, historically speaking, altcoins, they've been known to peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. 18 months from the last Bitcoin halving event, which happened back in April of 2024, is actually around October of this year. So the way I take a look at it is that, we may not be waiting that much longer anyways. Now, things could happen a little bit sooner, a little bit later, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to still accumulate Theta anytime an income, acquire, hold, and I just wait because $50, that's not surprising to me whatsoever. Keep in mind, Theta has very simple tokenomics, like the supply is 1 billion. So if Theta were to go to the price of $50, considering current circulating supply, market cap would actually be exactly $50 billion. Which again is almost unheard of usually in the world of cryptocurrencies, because when it comes to altcoins, usually the supply is a little bit weird. But again, this is like a very simple, easy number. But even besides that, why is a $50 billion market cap not too bad? Because we've seen BNB reach over $100 billion, and BNB isn't that dynamic in my opinion. For instance, in 2023, according to Crypto.com research, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened that year actually occurred on the BNB smart chain ecosystem. That's not that great. And again, BNB, if that can reach over $100 billion in market cap, Theta can, let's say, go to the price of $50 and go to a market cap of $50 billion. I just don't see why not. But again, it's just a waiting game. I'm willing to stay patient. I believe that Theta is a must-have for my portfolio. I think it's such an underrated giant. And I think that eventually people are going to hold this to the same regard as like a Cardano, like a Solana, like a BNB, like an Ethereum, like a Bitcoin. But I think it's just a matter of time. It's not the most interesting or flashy project out there, but I think Theta is a project that's very easy to understand, very simple. It's not overcomplicated. And again, $50 during this run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.